Hi, we're trading the ES on a 2000 tick chart with a 21 EMA. So overnight highs were here, overnight lows here. I thought they were pretty easy today. I started trading around this area right here. And so anyways, we have this uptrend, break, new high. The uptrend is played out with a break and a new high. It's not in play anymore. And then we go into a range. And so obviously at first I drew it right here and then I extended it. First I tried putting it here, but then it didn't hold, so I was thinking, all right, maybe it's lower, and maybe I should just be using around the same support as the overnight highs, which is what I actually think is valid. And so here the range is forming. The lows of the range are the overnight highs, and here's where I take my first trade, and and then I'll explain what's wrong with it and everything. So it's a bounce off the overnight highs and the lows of this range. So I was thinking, okay, so it's a bounce off the lows of the range, and it's a breakout pullback off of the overnight highs. And so that's basically what I was thinking there. But what I failed to remember was I shouldn't be taking breakout pullbacks without a strong trend. Breakout pullbacks are only for strong trends. Okay, so there a lot of times a breakout pullback that's not in a strong trend will be good for other reasons, but this one was basically only a breakout pullback, and I couldn't exactly take it as a bounce off the low of this range either, because it's only the second confirmation of this range. So breakout pullback off of the overnight highs, not exactly a good play. Um, and it was just the second bounce off these possible range lows. So that's not a setup either, and it's not any other kind of setup. It's just three legs down um, with a good signal bar. So I was thinking I can just write it to the other side of the range, but that's not what happened. Now here is where I made up for it right away, and this is actually a good trade because it's a failed breakout, so that's a trade within itself. So now it's still a breakout pullback of the overnight high, which that's not the reason I'm taking the trade. The reason I'm taking the trade is because it's a failed breakout of this support. The support held right there just for a little bit, and then it broke out. So it's it's confirmed. It's basically confirmed support at this point, and then a breakout, expecting it to fail. Most breakouts fail, so that's what I was thinking there. And then here I have this marked. I was thinking that could have been a good trade. Had you not entered here, you could have probably entered on this. Um, you definitely would have had room to get out. Um, I didn't add on or anything because I don't like to add on. I've added on before a couple times, but adding on kind of just makes me nervous. Like in case I'm wrong, I don't want to take a double loser, but I need to start getting used to it more because I miss a lot of opportunities because of that. So anyway, we have this leg up, break, new high outside of this range right here. And so at this point, this is where I started trying to draw a new uptrend off these two lows, which I actually started it from drawing it here. I drew it off of just this red bar. I was thinking that it could have been there. I didn't get the trend line until after the swing was formed though. So that's when I ended up just moving it to here and then off the red body there. So we have this uptrend. Now I'm looking for longs because price is proving that we're going higher. There's no reason to go short. So we break out of the range. We start to pull back. We rush through the EMA and with huge bearish bars. So that's actually not a good sign to go long. But then we bounce off the range highs right here. And we rush back above the EMA and we hold. I wasn't comfortable taking that. Had this been a failed second entry, like first entry short, second entry short failure, I think it would have been all right. I would have tried to get out before these highs though, which it's not always bad to enter into the highs, if it's just by a little bit, but I usually like to avoid that as much as I can. But so we move up, we make this new high, we have this downtrend, we have a break, first attempt to go lower, second attempt to go lower, failure. You can clearly see it's a first entry short, second entry short, failure. So that was tempting. I didn't take it because I don't like taking golfing bars like that. Just I have a thing against engulfing bars because um, I'm just always afraid that the bar that's engulfing is gonna close down lower, But um, I've been getting used to it, Haven't really been taking them, but I've been seeing them more, and I'm probably gonna start taking more engulfing bar setups like that. But considering we just bounced off the key entry point and then got a failure, had this had a better setup, or maybe if this closed a couple points, few points down, I think that would have been a good entry. So we move up, we have a leg up, and then we finally have a correction again, and then this is where I get to my next trade. Now, I was kind of nervous taking this trade because it was into the highs. Like I was mentioning, I'm not a huge fan of going to the highs, so I got in one tick early. I used a limit order and got in on the end of the bar, and then I basically barely got out before the highs of the day, or I think it was directly on the highs of the day. Oh no, it was one tick above the high of the day. Either way, it's not a big deal. I think I sometimes concern myself with that too much. But but anyway, so it works. We rush higher, and then this trade was a lot more aggressive than most other trades I take. So basically, a lot of the time on big trend days like this, I just notice I miss a lot of swings that don't necessarily have good setups, and so I always tell myself to try to be more aggressive on trend days. Just try to find trades with good context, generally good context on strong trend days, and you're likely to get winners that way. So basically here, what I was thinking was, we're in this big uptrend. We have a correction down. It is just a first entry, but it has a good signal bar off the EMA. You have enough room before the high, and it closed out of this short-term trend line. So I decided to take the risk, and it paid off. And I believe I entered with a stop. Yeah, I entered with a stop order on that one because I wasn't concerned with the highs at that point. I was kind of just concerned with the fact that it's just a first entry. But considering this trend, I thought it was worth it. You know, every single bounce off the EMA, several bounces had worked. Um, you know, a lot of swings are working, so I was thinking, all right, since it's so strong, I think I'm just going to take this more risky trade, and if I'm wrong, then it won't be a big deal. I'm not going to be down a bunch of points or anything. So yeah, those were my only trades. So these 4 trades, 1 loser, 3 winners, pretty good considering I made up for the loser on the very next trade plus 1 tick and then got 4 more points. So that's 4.25 points. Um, so that's not bad. But anyway, we move up. We have this correction. We go through the EMA. I'm still not wanting to look short because of that, because the overall trend is up. We rush back above the EMA. We kind of start to go sideways here. I didn't draw a range in real time, but I'm kind of starting to see one, kind of. It's not really valid because you don't have confirms on both sides, and then it just breaks out. So I think I'm just going to get rid of that. But anyway, we have the correction, break, new low, rush back above the EMA. No way you can enter that. It's not off of anything, and you know, there's really just no way that you can take that trade. But then here is where I was kind of beating myself up a little bit because I missed this trade right here. And so we had 2 legs down. Now, if you look, it's like 1 tick away from the key entry point, but that is basically off the key entry point. I mean, you can't really hardly tell, so I'd say that's off the key entry point. 2 legs down off the key entry point on a very strong trend day, and it's the 4th bounce off the key entry point. So looking back, I kind of think that's pretty good looking, especially because it's such a small bar. I absolutely am confident that I should have taken that and gone for 1-to-1 because that would be, let me draw that. So 6 ticks, if I enter with a stop, that'd be 7. So 7 ticks, that's not even 2 points. So I honestly should have just taken that. But anyway, we bounce off the key entry point here. We have a higher low, and then It's not off the EMA, it's below the EMA, but if you want a higher low, you generally want to see a rush above, then hold. But it does have matching lows here, and then it closes above. But, you know, kind of just, it's really not that bad looking now that I look at it, but these kind of trades make me nervous, where there's two bars with matching lows, and one is so much higher than the other bar in the same swing. Um, yeah, I don't really see much wrong with that though. But yeah, I feel like this is probably not a bad trade, considering we just came off the key entry point. It's a higher low, um, holding above the EMA right here, so I think it honestly looks alright. Um, but yeah, one thing I wanted to go over was, oh, let's see, did I just miss something possibly? No, it doesn't look too. Let's just analyze this really fast. Let's see. Yeah, I don't really think I missed anything here. Yeah, I think I'm good. Whatever. I was thinking I just missed something and I could have gotten a live trade for y'all, but it's whatever. So today's not my best day, but and one thing I wanted to go over was the risk to reward. So y'all know that I only go for 1-to-1. Now, I've mentioned in some videos a few weeks ago that I have taken trades where I've gone for 1-to-2, so double reward to risk, and I only had success with it, but I didn't really stick with it because most of the trades I was taking, I knew that I should only be going for 1-to-1, and I shouldn't be trying to go for crazy targets like 1-to-2. But I did start going through a lot of my trades and realizing that a lot of my trades get 1-to-2. And if you'll notice today, every single trade that I took today would have made a 1-to-2 target. Now, on this trade right here, um, I'll draw that. I entered with a stop. So if I make this target 1-to-2, I would have had to go outside of the range here. Now, that it doesn't have to go out very far, but basically when I would take some 1-to-2 trades, then what I would think is, okay, it just has to be a perfect setup with really good context, with enough room, and it has to be a day where most of the swings already from strong like key entry points or just strong pivot areas are getting 1-2. So that was basically what I would think. So this trade right here, I wouldn't go for 1-2 because I would just be concerned with, you know, an early bounce. We're not in a strong trend. We do have a bullish imbalance though. But at this point up here, I'm thinking, oh, whoops. I'm thinking maybe I should have been going for 1-2. Um, I'm not going to start going for 1-2 on my targets yet. I'm still going to be studying it more. But but it's just something to think about. So I'm gonna be experimenting with some 1-2 entries a lot more, and then I'll be sharing it with y'all. Um, because I did it for a little bit, and I had success with it, and it didn't cause. There was um, a couple losses I had doing that, where it made the 1-to-1 target, but it didn't make the 1-to-2 target. Um, and then I was kind of just refining it, figuring out exactly when to take 1-to-2 and when to go for only 1-to-1. And I'm starting to figure it out. I'm getting a lot better at it. It's a lot easier to see when I look at the charts now. But I'll definitely be sharing that with y'all when I learn more. But so this is just the day today. Um, not the best day. I'm up 4.25 points. So there's the trades. Um, anyway, I hope y'all learned something. I hope y'all had a good trading day, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one.